You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Hello, how are we all? Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. Welcome along. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. I do apologise for the tardiness and lateness of our arrival this evening. I'll give you one guess as to why we were late. Who was having problems with his hearing aid? Yes, it was, of course, our Dave. How else could it be? Hopefully, if he sticks a thumbs up, I know that it's all working at that end now. Yes, he's put his thumbs up, which is a bit unfortunate because we were just talking about Prince Andrew. He is a very, famous man now, Dave. Kate has been on the BBC with Owen and Pipes. I've been on the BBC with Owen, but both of us have been absolutely blown out the water by Dave, who has met royalty this week. Yes, apparently he was taking pictures for Kate for Mother's Day. I don't know whether that's why there's all the fuss about it, but no, he met the Duke of Edinburgh. And as I said earlier, I've met the Duke of York, but he was very, very much a depressive, because when he was up, and when he was down. Yes. That is the standard tonight. Don't expect it to get any better than that. That is it. I have set the level for tonight's show. And if you have got any questions, do get them in, and we will share them with the panel. If it's not on topic, we may save it till the end, though, so that we're not sort of shooting all over the place. It's bad enough with Dave does that all the time. It really annoys Kathy because she's got to clean it up afterwards. But there we go. So tonight's topics are we bottling it? I don't like that phrase, but are we? Are we bottling it? We may not be top next time we play in the league. FFP, apparently Kate was saying there's some new news about that, so she will be filling us in on that. And looking forward to the FA Cup quarter-finalist. Not bad, is it? Not bad at all. A quick few hellos. Scott is in. Hi, Scott. How are you doing? Welcome along. Well, Scott, who knows? Who knows with Dave, Douglas is in. Hello, Douglas. How are you? From the Hug Out Football Channel. Welcome along. Kyle is in. Hello, Kyle. How are you? There's a few hurly hellos. And I will get my guests in. And that is, of course, the lovely and delectable Kate. Well, if she's the beauty, well, Dave makes up the beast, doesn't he?
Chris does it 3 hours a day.
Want to do it again?
5 days a week.
Oh, yes.
Just for you.
I love it.
On the Golden Breakfast Show.
This is Surrey Hills Radio.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Indeed. Oh, look at that. None of us are in the right position. There we go.
Hello.
Now we are. So, Daisy, everybody bear with Dave. He had to get up early this morning to do a breakfast show. One that he normally did in 2 hours, but the more professional amongst us do in 3 to make it proper. And he felt he had to do that. Dave, how we doing, mate? Friends with the old Duke now, are we?
His Royal Highness, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
I apologise. One apologises to one, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Kate, welcome along. How are you? Have you got back all in one piece then?
Yes, just about. Yeah, all good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm not sure about Dave this evening, to be honest with you. I mean, when he's normal, he's bad enough, so God knows what he's going to be like tonight.
I've changed my mood lighting a little bit. See if that helps.
Well, what can I say?
His hair at the back as well is brilliant.
What?
Your hair's all sticking up at the back.
Oh, is it?
Did you not do your hair and makeup before you came on, Dave? Come on. I mean, oh dear. Well, welcome along all. If you can try and stay awake, Dave, that would be absolutely fantastic. I just feel I do feel that I have got to come between you two because the sexual tension here on a Monday night. Gusbury. Yeah, you. Mate, look. I don't know if I can. No, you can't see that because it's not me. I've got a fan there that I'm gonna have to turn on in a minute. That's because I'm popular. That's why I'm sat next to a fan. Hello, how you doing? Jokes aren't getting any better, really, are they? No. Lucky to get a point probably at the weekend, I think we can say. We may well have taken that before we kicked off, Kate. But I'm going to come to you first, Dave, because this is a term you like to use, and I argued with you. But are we bottling it?
I wouldn't say that on Saturday. I think we played a good side. They've had some cracking results. So I wouldn't worry too much about that result. Are we bottling it? I think that happens time of year, isn't it? We've done so well all season that we're, anything below that standard, we're starting to panic. So no, I wouldn't think so. I think they know too much about the league and they know too much about each other now. I think they'll be fine.
Kate?
I hope.
No, I don't think we're bottling it. It was always going to happen for me. It's a bit like a 400-meter race, isn't it? Where someone goes out the blocks really fast, and then by the time the home straight comes round, everybody's levelling up, and that's exactly what's happening. So we've had our blip just later on than everybody else. So I think we'd be naive to think that we wouldn't have a blip. But I thought it was a really hard-earned, well-won point on Saturday. Hull were a really good side. They played us at our own game a bit, very similar style of play to us. And we did well. We made a few mistakes. Obviously, the first goal wasn't great. We had a questionable referee. But again, it was a gutsy performance following on from the Sunderland match. We got really stuck in and we had to grind it out.
I mean, I always said, Dave, didn't I? When is our blip going to come? It has, I think, finally come. I just... all right, Leeds fans are enjoying life. I have more Leeds fans. They used to say this about Man United, but we are living rent-free at the moment in Leeds United fans' brains. Well, we're not playing this weekend because we're still in the FA Cup. And in fairness to Leeds, they were unlucky against Chelsea. They put up a good fight, but Chelsea got the last-minute winner. But Dave, I'm not sure who they've got coming up at the weekend, to be honest with you. But I think it's Millwall, isn't it, on the Sunday? So if they were to beat Millwall, and you would imagine that they will go above us. It's that psychological boost that it gives them, isn't it?
Well, anything will give them a boost, won't it? Because they haven't been top all year, have they? So, it's no big deal, is it? They just played one more game than we have.
Do you not think, though, when they look at the table and when Leicester, and I'll throw this back the other way to you in a second, Kate, but do you not think that Leeds is the club, right, now it's ours to lose?
No, not at all. No, I think if we win our next game, we'll be above them. So I don't think it's a problem. I think they'll probably find it quite exciting. But, you know, we're used to it now. We're used to being up there. They've still got Ipswich to worry about. That's their biggest problem. I think we're fine. At least
I think
hope
they've
we are.
still got one of the big boys to play as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it is, but I think they have Kate. The chances are when we next play in the league, we're not going to be top. But then it's up to Leeds to be looking over their shoulder, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the case. Yeah, I mean, we psychologically, I think it won't necessarily. I don't think it will necessarily impact. I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but it's certainly one that's going to make you turn your head a bit that we might not be top this weekend. But similarly, the pressure's on Leeds this week in the run up to this Millwall match that they've got the opportunity to go top. So the pressure's on them at the moment, if you know what I mean. I've just looked at their fixtures. They've got Southampton on the very last game of the season, which could be pretty crucial. But yeah, I think for us, we've just got to get the job done and we've got to stop thinking about the title. I'm just bothered about where third place is, really. And that's what matters. Yeah, I think that's what matters to me. If Leeds want to win it, Leeds can win it. I just want us to get automatic promotion spot.
You think who they played? I mean, they just scraped past Stoke at home, wasn't it? 1-0. They drew at Huddersfield. You know, you'd expect them to win that one as well. So Huddersfield away 1 point, Stoke at home scraped 3 points, and they weren't doing so good.
They won 2-0 against Sheffield Wednesday on Friday. By all accounts, Sheffield Wednesday played them off the park, from what I've read.
They did. So that's 3 games where they've struggled. So, you know, they've got to be worried as well.
But do you think when you look at us, let's forget the Southampton game and let's forget the Stoke game, because they were the big games for us, you know, score wise. A lot of the time when we were top, we were only just scraping through. You know, it was a 1-0 here, Kate. It was a 2-1 there. So we weren't actually. Yes, we were getting the 3 points, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But we weren't Barcelona by any stretch of the imagination, even though when we were 12 points ahead. No,
I think the only time I felt really sort of in our stride and that the wins were convincing wins was probably the first 10 or 12 games. I think we only lost one out of those first 12 games. And since then, it has been a real battle. We've had to earn it. Confidence helps, momentum helps, and we've got that bit of quality ahead of some of the other championship sides that helps with some of the squad rotation that we're able to do. But yeah, none of these games, I can't really remember a game where Stoke was an anomaly, but where I've thought, played them off the park, never even worried anyway through that 90 minutes, and we've won easily. There's been none of those games, especially this calendar year, that I can even Ipswich, we could have lost that game on Boxing Day. So I think people are just getting a bit carried away where they're saying, oh, we've messed up the 12-point gap. We haven't. That's showing quite a lot of disrespect to the competitors that we've got. Ipswich have been relentless. They'll probably be a bit annoyed that Leeds and Leicester are taking their headlines a little bit. And Leeds are a really good outfit. I think we all called that at the start of the season. Their front 5 is absolutely superb. So we're just having our moment where we have wobbled, and this will show what the guys are really made of. But it's not been easy by any stretch. It's just not.
No, and we've scored as many goals as Ipswich have in the league. And our goal difference is better than anybody. It's okay. I think it's only a couple from Leeds, isn't it, or something like that.
Leeds have just had a great 2024. Leeds have had I don't think Leeds. I was looking at this today. I don't think Leeds have conceded in open play this calendar year, which is unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
But they have had they've got a manager in Daniel Farke who knows how to get out of this division. When it comes to, comparing, Daniel Farke to Enzo, he's got so much more experience.
He knows how to get back in as well, doesn't he?
Sorry, say that again.
He knows how to get back in the division as well.
Yes. Doesn't necessarily, he knows how to come back down out of it, but he has got that experience that, in fairness to Enzo, he still hasn't. Say hi to Nipan there. He's not been in for a while, but we've got Chelsea obviously next week, so he's a big Chelsea fan. Welcome along, Nipan. Hope you are well.
It's good to do his homework on the opposition.
I know he's seeing what we're up to. We're doing with Chelsea Fancast. It's a bit later than normal on Thursday, an 8:30 start for a preview on the Chelsea game. So stick with us for that. As John says there, Dave, top 2 is all that matters. And I mean, I've said now, probably for the last month, 6 weeks, whoever finishes above Leeds will get promoted.
Yeah, no doubt. And that'll be us. So it's all good. I just feel a bit for the Southampton fans, I must say. That they were going brilliant, weren't they? And you knew it was going to end, and it did. Ipswich kind of bounced back a bit sooner than I expected. So I thought Ipswich would have been out of it by now and just in the playoffs. But I mean, they're putting up a good fist for it. So I think Leeds need to worry about them, not worry about us. They should see it the same way, top 2.
When you come to think, between those top 4 teams, Kate, Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, Southampton, there is 9 points. 9 games to go, 9 points between us. I have literally done all the maths at the weekend, but I haven't redone it since the weekend's games as to who needs what. So it is really 5th and 6th that's being played for. You'd think West Brom pretty much would probably be in there, but then it's anybody from sort of 10th upwards.
Yeah.
I'm just worried. I mean, yes, top 2 is all that matters. Yes, I want to win it, as I've said many, many times. Yes, I want to get the record. But as long as, if we don't, but we finish second and we're straight back up, that is all that matters. Somebody said the other day on one of the shows, I can't remember which one it was. I'll ask you both this, but I'll stick with you first, Kate. If we don't go up and we end up in the playoffs, and then we lose the playoffs, he was suggesting Enzo should go. Now, I don't think he should. Whether he will then get poached, I don't know. But what about Leicester's decision? I don't think he should go if that happens.
No, me neither. I'm not in the business of sacking managers. We've had an amazing season. When you think about the changes that took place at the club, we've lost some of our prized assets. And the ones that we've signed aren't world-class players. They've been really good signings, some really good loan signings, and some really good players that Enzo has brought out of the academy. But Enzo's done a bit of a miracle job in terms of looking at people like Ndidi, bringing McAteer through. Ben Nelson's got a start. Hamza, for all that I say Hamza still isn't anything on Ricardo, Hamza has turned into a really positive, progressive footballer. He's not where I would want him to be when we compare him to Ricardo. But Enzo has been able to really put his arm around some of these players who must have been in a pretty bad state after Brendan left and after the end of last season, and he's been able to turn them around and have belief in themselves again. So that's what you want from a manager, and sometimes you do make mistakes. I don't think he would have had the January that he wanted, and that's obviously due to the club constraints, not his. So I'm just not in the business of it. I don't think it ever gets you anywhere, and we're just so impatient and impulsive as football fans now that seems to be the norm. But I don't like it, and I don't want to pay him off for however many years he's got on his contract, and then that impacts our FFP again. Like he's signed a contract, and he's doing good. He's doing good.
Yeah. Dave, could you see him going if we don't go up?
No, just look at Watford.
Yes. I was just looking to see the exact details, but is it today or yesterday they sacked their manager?
Yes, yesterday, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Although I believe he did get a gold watch for a long service award, but I don't know.
I mean, that is staggering, isn't it? Where's it got them? 24 managers in 10 years or 20 managers in 8 years?
Someone said like they've had more managers in the last decade than there has been Dalai Lamas since the 16th century.
They probably have more managers than they got points.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I would have had a bet on the Dalai Lama being the next Watford manager if I'd been a Tibetan.
Very true.
If I'd been a Tibetan man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I just say, blame Gary Delaney for that, not me.
Yeah.
Always Gary Delaney's.
I think we know when it's time for a manager to go. We knew last Christmas it was time Christmas before it's time for Brendan to go. We knew that because you could tell by the players, you could see what was going on. now the players are with him. I mean, they did fight. You were there, Kate. I don't know, but the bits I saw, they look good at times. Yeah, terrible defensive error, but we do it. I mean, Wout Faes has bothered me for months now with his casual attitude. I don't know what it is about him. I mean, I like the guy, but he's not got that bite anymore. He's got that laid back attitude as if I'm too good for this place. I could be wrong. I hope so, but it's just the way he comes across, and he bothers me. And I don't know. I thought that was a game we needed Cody, and I assume he was fit.
Yeah, I did. But like even KDH, KDH looked a bit of a shadow of himself last year. Enzo's turned him around, which made him the best player in the championship. So Enzo for me is a really good man manager, and that's exactly what we need, really. And you can't underestimate or disrespect the opposition. Ipswich and Leeds and Southampton, they went on a 26 unbeaten run. That's half the season, over half the season on the trot unbeaten. Like we were against we've got record-breaking competitors this year. Typical Leicester. We go down the year in the championship. There's 3 others that are on target to break the record. So you've got to get things in perspective a bit, and you're careful what you wish for.
Did Faes play well or not? Sorry, Chris.
I thought he was a bit with the error, and I'm the same as you, Chris, Dave. There's just an element of fast that's a bit casual at times. Vestergaard reminds me a bit of Huth. You know, like Huth wasn't pacey, but he knew his limitations, and he always made sure. If he's not sure, he'll kick it out for a throw in. If he feels like he's back, he won't take a risk. I feel like Fast takes a risk, like he tried to sidestep the player and he didn't take the ball with him, and he's just a bit casual, and I don't think Cody or Vestergaard are making that error.
No.
But we all make errors, and maybe he'll learn from it and actually sharpen up and realise that actually Hull were a really good outfit and they took full advantage of that.
Everybody's entitled to a bad game every now and again, you know. Let's put it into perspective that I've asked the question, I've got to, but we have only lost 7 this season, so you know we would have taken that last season, wouldn't we? Terry just said it was Locks on another LCFC channel that said about the sack. Well, in fairness, I know Locks. There's not hiding from the fact that I don't like him. I think he's very immature and up his own arse a lot, and he's only in his mid-20s. So you know maybe that's why.
Me and Dave were only in our late 20s.
Sorry?
Yeah.
We were only in our late 20s.
Yeah. What's your problem with 20-year-olds?
20 and the rest.
Or do you mean 20 stone?
It's Dave's birthday. Kathy has to have the fire brigade on standby for when they light the cake. Let's not be silly. But yes, he is a bit. He's definitely up there when it comes to being up your own arse. And just like he once said to me. And like I said, I think when you are younger, you forget the bad times, or you don't even remember the bad times that we had.
It's just being realistic, isn't it? It's being realistic. You've got to be realistic. Who's coming in? What do they then need? Then you need to give them a couple of transfer windows. Like you can't keep reinventing the wheel every time. It costs so much money to do it. And Enzo hasn't messed up. He's done excellently.
And all this, do you remember when we were talking about if Rodgers goes, we were going to get Pochettino? Everybody wanted Pochettino. Would he come to Leicester, really? Realistically? You know, I don't know. Look,
Enzo's not making that fast error. Enzo's not missing that Daka chance. Enzo's not the referee that didn't give the KDH penalty at Ipswich. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that goes into the results. It's not just the manager.
And look, you know, he's been with us 7 months. You know, it's like when we played Bournemouth last season, they'd just been stuffed 9-0 by Liverpool. They'd got a caretaker manager that had only been a manager for like 5 days up against the super coach that was Brent. I don't know why I'm doing that. You can't see me doing my fingers, which is probably just as well. But you'd got this experienced coach against this guy that'd been there 5 days, and Brendan was outthought, you know. And we've got to remember that, like with Daniel Farke, he's got that experience.
Who are you speaking to there? Me?
I don't think Dave's with us, is he? We've lost Dave again. He's muted himself.
He's got his different headphones in.
He's on the phone. I think he's on the phone.
No, I'm not.
Oh. You did say you'd be a minute, and then you went off and...
Yeah, well, I swapped my head bits because I don't know what.
Can I just say, you're just as ugly as you were before, so it hasn't worked.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Mr. Potato Head. Stopped his head bit.
Oh, that's going to stick now, Mr. Potato Head.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't have to be, I got offered a spot on the BBC tonight.
Oh, it's all royalty now, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they said we're going to have that Kate, but she's not met His Royal Highness, so.
It's Royal Highness HRH Dave.
But yeah,
what was the question?
A couple of days ago, I think it possibly was the Chelsea guy, and arranging the show, and we were talking about Vardy, that leads me very nicely into, if you haven't checked it out yet, get over to the bbc.co.uk/sport/football/teams/Leicester City, or you could just go bbc.co.uk/Leicester City. And today's excellent piece, and I have to say it is excellent. I know the guy that wrote this, and is an intelligent, good-looking human being. And the piece that he's written is "Write Vardy off at your peril, as big summer decision looms." And I basically said that, we keep thinking Vardy's had it, he's not, and he comes on and scores us 2 goals. At the end of the season, his contract's out. If we go up 140 grand a week, allegedly he's on, Kate, can we afford to keep him with this FFP overruling us? And that leads us also very nicely onto the second subject, which is FFP.
I would definitely re-sign Vardy for another year, but I would massively caveat his contract on a pay-per-play basis, bonus basis, etc. I would make his salary lower. And if he's prepared to do that and both sides think that we can get something out of him next year, then absolutely. The difference with the guy, it's quite odd that really the attitude and tenacity and aggression that he brings to the team is quite odd for me, that out of 11 players, he's the only one who has that aggression. But he does seem to be the only one who has that aggression, like he'll headbutt you for a throw-in. That's the kind of attitude Vardy's got. He's winding up the crowd. He's constantly in the defenders' ears. Some of the players these days, I think the younger generation are too nice. And you just got to get under their skin. And Vardy does that, whether he has a crap game or not. He really gets under their skin. And his motivation is just, second to none, really.
You all right there, Dave? Are you picking your best favourite music?
Can I phone you back, Rossi?
Hello.
Sorry, that's the palace on the phone.
Prince Andrew wants to meet you this time, does he?
He's releasing his memoirs next week, Dave will.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. They want to know if I've started the book. Right, it won't happen again.
I can tell you where to put the book.
Yeah,
are you with us, Dave?
I'm sorry.
Is one with us, sir?
I can't believe it. And Kate was talking as well. That's my worst nightmare.
Bloody rude. You time that.
I did say to Kate earlier, of course, because she told me off for being early today. And
that's not unusual.
No, it's not. I voted yesterday in the general election. The people who turned up, the people said it's not happening yet. I said, well, it is. I'm here ready to vote. They said, no, you must be suffering with premature election. Anyway. This is what the crowd wants.
Definitely some kind of dysfunction for sure.
Dear.
I mean, would he take that? I mean, look, let's look at the offers. He could go to America possibly and play. He could go to Saudi and, remember when he's got allegedly Rebecca's court fees to pay off. But, he could go to Saudi, he could go to there, he could even go to Sheffield Wednesday for one season and play for his boyhood club. So would he take a pay-as-you-play contract, Dave?
I wouldn't. Certainly not on that basis. No, I don't know whether I'd also think. I'd have to think very carefully about whether I wanted another half season in the Premier League, or whether I wanted to do the Sheffield Wednesday thing, or whether I wanted to go to America. I think his loyalty is obviously with Leicester. I mean, he could have gone to any club 5 years ago, or even before that, and he didn't. He chose to stay with us. As he said, why would he move? I think if he wants to stay, I think we bite the bullet.
Yeah.
And keep him on a similar contract. And I know what Kate's saying, she's right, of course, but I think for what Vardy's done for us, we've tended not to look after old servants in the past, and I'm talking over decades.
You're not that old, Dave.
Yeah, but we've
one has servants now. Does one?
Well, yeah, one.
Is that what you call it, Kate?
Yeah, thank you.
Ding-ding-dong.
What the hell was I on about? I don't know what I'm on about. Jeeves, what was I on about? Oh, yes, thank you, my man. So we tend not to look after them so much. And I just think Vardy, we make an exception because he's done so much when he didn't have to. I think for all the money we've wasted over the years, I think this money wouldn't be wasted, even behind the scenes. I don't think he's as fiery with the players as Schmeichel would have been, which was a big mistake we need to learn from. Wes Morgan's not been as involved as I thought he might be with the club as far as the first team and that's concerned, which I understand. But, we've got to use these assets, and Vardy's a big asset. Even, I didn't agree with it at the time, but just coming on with 10, 15 minutes to go, to see Vardy warming up and getting changed, the defenders are going to think, wow, what's going on here?
The thing is, Kate.
So, yeah.
It also, Kate, guess if it's I know you said Filbert Street then, if it's at the King Power and he's warming up, it's just going to get the crowd going, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a real presence. He's got a real presence for us, and you just never know when he's going to show off some of his magic. So for me, I think if Premier League's on the table and if we want it, I think Vardy will want it, because I think he'll want to try and get a few more goals. I think he's a handful off RVP's record as well, goal scoring record for the Premier League. I just think he might feel there's some unfinished business, and I think we've said before, you're a long time retired, you never get it back, and because he was a late starter and a late entrant into the Premier League as well, I think he'll be very reluctant to let it go until he absolutely has to.
Players can play on, can't they? I mean, look, I actually, again, BBC, I said, if this is what he can do when he doesn't train all bloody week, just get him in the club on Saturdays and Sundays. All we need. I mean, Dave, how can you not train all week and then still? I mean, it's probably his Red Bull vodka mixes, isn't it? But I did put at the end of my piece here, I'll have a pint of what he's drinking, please. But then I thought it's going to be vodka Red Bull, but obviously other drinks are available. But you just think he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And Enzo said it's all about managing him, and it'll be the same if we go up into the Premier League.
Yeah, I think so. And he's still quick. At least he looks quick to me. But then anybody does. But he's still got it, hasn't he? He still knows where to go. He still gets the game. The players know where he's going to be. And he's scored a lot of goals, but we've not really seen him at his, per se, full potential. But, we've not seen what he can do, really, on a regular basis. And apart from the fact it would be a sad moment when he does retire, I think he's still got stuff to offer now. I wasn't sure at the beginning of the season, but he was injured. But if he can stay fit, we need him. I mean, Daka's
Kate?
disappointed me more now. I don't know what he was like when he came on, Kate, but I think he missed a chance, didn't he? His confidence is so low, and it's not going to help him.
Dave, I'm sorry. I had this discussion with somebody on the watch along on Saturday. He's still one of our top goal scorers.
Yeah, he had a good run, didn't he?
Yeah.
Short-term run.
His length of time without a goal is probably no longer than Vardy's was.
Yeah, I think it's the chances, not the goals. I think the chances that Daka's had, Vardy would have popped away. And I think
Really?
I think so, and I think that's his problem. A striker needs to be confident. You miss a couple like that, especially after the Leeds game, which must have destroyed all their confidence for about an hour or two. And you do that, and it sticks in your mind when a chance comes to you. And that's what striking is.
We're not going to be covering that topic. That is a minefield for solicitors, so we're not going to be touching that topic. Kate, I mean, he always looks to be happy, smiling. Doesn't seem to be short of confidence. I mean, literally, he came on in the 86th minute. I mean, he didn't exactly have a lot of time to impress, did he?
No, but there was 10 minutes of injury time there as well. I wasn't particularly impressed with him. I'm not Daka's biggest fan. I'm not really sure why we're not using Cannon a bit more. I find Daka quite wasteful, and I find that he chases shadows. What happens for me is Vardy was given a certain level of aggression, of pressing, of tenacity, and you never ever get the same from Daka. I know he's a different player, but I just feel he chases shadows. His positioning isn't that great, and it was quite a good chance that he scuffed. I'm not saying that anybody else on the team maybe would have or wouldn't have scored it, but I'm not sure they're scuffing it out 10 yards wide of the goal. I'm just not his biggest fan. I personally think it's a personality thing, in that I don't think Daka wants it enough. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but like I've said, Vardy will headbutt you for a throw-in, and Daka's the one that's apologising because he stood on your toe. And it's that kind of niceness and polite that sometimes can hold you back as a striker, when you just got to beat your man and get there. Come hell or high water, you just got to get there.
I think Gary Neville said it about Vardy, didn't he, last year or the year before? Vardy's got to get nasty again. He wasn't nasty enough.
And he has, I've seen John's comment there, he has missed some sitters as well this season. Vardy, there was one only a couple of games ago where it pinged straight over the bar from about 2 yards out. And Daka would have got, dog's abuse for that. But he doesn't bring...
We can't criticise Vardy, can we? He's our golden child. Far be it from anybody to have anything to say if Vardy misses a chance.
But Vardy's done it. Daka hasn't.
Yeah, but Vardy's been with us a lot longer. I would hope he's done it. He's been with us how many seasons now?
I think we all know that we can't quite put our finger on what it is about Daka, but I think Nacho also has it.
Nacho had it because he was only getting 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there for a long, long time. I mean, at the end of the day, Jamie Vardy scored 15 goals this season. He's got 1 assist. Daka's 7 goals and 4 assists. He is our 4th top scoring player this season. He's got more goals than Iheanacho, Makatir, Fatawu. And I just think, when you can't compare anybody to Jamie Vardy. It's like who would be the manager that wants to follow Sir Alex Ferguson? No, because you're always getting compared to Sir Alex Ferguson. Nobody's going to die for the club like Jamie Vardy is. We know that, and we've got to be fair to these other players. They're not. Whoever comes in and replaces Jamie, it's like we've only just now. When did we sell? When did we sell Mahrez? Was it 6 seasons ago?
Yeah.
And it's only just now accepted that we've actually got somebody in that's going to do a fair job. Every other player, how were they as bad as we thought, or were they just bad? Because he's not a bad, he's not a Mahrez. He doesn't Mahrez.
They weren't managed. They weren't managed.
But you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, I do. But
Yeah,
you say
both
Fatima.
Vardy and Mahrez are world-class players, and it's very unusual that Leicester get world-class players.
Yeah.
It
had something, didn't they?
Yeah,
had
they have
something. You
I just
know.
think
The
it's
difference
interesting.
as well. Sorry, difference is as well. They've got that attitude. Mahrez didn't have it the first season. It took him a season to settle in.
Well, it took
regular
Vardy a season
games.
to settle in.
Well,
he was going to
yeah,
nip off to Spain and be a Club 1830 rep.
yeah, true. Fataou's slightly disappointing, but you know they can't play well every game, as you said. But because we're all panicking a little bit because we're not winning every game, we're now looking for scapegoats.
I was about to say that exact same word, Dave. That is a bit. We are seeing each other too much because our minds, you know, like when you get a load of women working together.
Told you not to
all
say
the
anything.
Periods match up, don't they? It's like that with me and Dave now. Our periods
It's not
are
true,
matching
Kate.
up.
Not true.
Yeah. So
I think the issue is that without Vardy, we still don't have an answer. We don't even have a Nugent. We don't even have an Andy King.
And I don't think that will happen until Vardy goes.
Yeah.
Because while he's at the club, you've got the spectre of Jamie Vardy. Oh, we should have brought Jamie Vardy on. You know, we had Boris, who I've kicked out the group now, but all he ever said was, Boris would have got that. Boris will come, not Boris, Vardy would have got that.
He probably would have done.
Yeah, Vardy will come on, you know, with 4 minutes left and score a hat trick, you know, and it's like, we're always getting that. We Leicester fans seem to need a scapegoat. Ben Chilwell was England's left back, but he wasn't good enough for Leicester.
I didn't get that at all. I'm sorry.
You know,
I never got that.
We've got to have a scapegoat that we want to pick on all the time. Barnes, one season with Harvey Barnes, it's, well, he never shoots. And then the next season, he was shooting a lot and getting a lot of goals. Well, he never passes. You know, it's like Leicester fans, we're only happy if we've got something to moan about.
Mavadidi's the next one, of course, because he's gone off the boil, hasn't he? I mean, but then he was so exceptional the early part of the season.
He gets loaded up, to be honest, as well. He gets a couple on him each game at the minute.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But I mean,
Hey,
he's still
I want
the
to
same
move
player.
on to FFP because you actually read something about FFP earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, so the breaking news from Sky was that they're going to be bringing in the Football Premier League financial fair play stuff in line with UEFA, which is, I think, it sounds, when I've just looked at the clip, then it's like it's on a squad ratio system. So a squad ratio system is where you're allowed to spend up to an agreed percentage, maybe even up to 85% of your revenues on wages and transfers. So that's potentially something that they're going to be looking at. And Premier League clubs, there's a Premier League meeting today, I think, from what they said in Sky's sensational way of announcing things. There's a Premier League meeting today that's discussing this. And if things are going to change, which will need 14 clubs to agree it, then they want it to come in as soon as possible, maybe even in the summer. So that could mean that rules change, but obviously nothing's in place yet. It's still as it was and as you were for the rules that could affect us and Everton and Forest, but it would potentially change that kind of thing. But again, it still tilts towards the preservation of the status quo. If you can only spend 85% of your revenue on transfers and wages, then that still means that the smaller clubs or the lower revenue clubs can't go to town with the big boys on transfers and wages to try and get players. So it still massively backs the preservation of the status quo, which to me is anti-sport. So there's a bit of development there, but it sounds to me like the Premier League are starting to, as we probably all are, think that actually this FFP isn't fair, and give it a couple more years and you're probably going to have over half the Premier League on a points deduction, which is just ridiculous. But the other thing that came out of it as well was that the money generated by the Premier League, which was the catalyst for this discussion, money's generated by the Premier League. They want more monies to go down to the EFL. But the Premier League have said, actually, we don't want to give any more monies to other leagues if it's going to be to our detriment and cost us in FFP because we've given money elsewhere. So that I think was the catalyst for these further discussions about whether the existing FFP rules are fit for purpose.
Very, very good coverage there, Kate. I mean, what? Now, look. You know, from what you told me you do earlier, you can understand all these legal documents and everything.
Not really.
This mean? Would this make any difference to us, if you like, if this is brought in with us, you know, facing this points deduction? Which that's just the headline on the Mercury there.
Yeah, it just depends how they treat the legacy charges. If the legacy charges are, do you know what, we've got to stick with the rules in the year that they were in place, then it will still hit us. But if it's going to be changed to stop clubs unnecessarily who haven't actually done that much to jeopardize their stock. Remember, FFP was brought in to stop clubs shafting themselves, to stop them going insolvent, to stop them owing millions and millions to the revenue or not paying staff. Leicester are no way near that. Everton are no way near that. So they've just got to make sure the rules are fit for purpose. So it depends how they want the transition to happen. If it's just from 24-25, then we'll still get stung. Or if it's, do you know what, just scrap everything, which might well happen only because they can then let Man City off the hook, which I think may be our only saving grace, because nobody can clearly be asked to go through 115 charges of legal documents and then probably 115 appeals.
Would we have been better, Dave, just to have said to clubs like Man City and all them lot, just bugger off and play in the European League?
No, not really. Because without the Football League, I don't really class the Premier League as a different institution. I know it is, but to me, it's all football. It's all the Football League. And they're not equal. They never have been. You go back to the days when you couldn't get promoted from non-league football because the general meeting of the Division 4 clubs wouldn't let them.
Do you remember Workington Town?
I do indeed, yeah.
They used to finish bottom for like 10 years, and every time they got voted to stay up. And
you had teams like Wimbledon, who finished top of the Southern League every year, and they never got voted in. So it's never been equal. But I think from what Kate said, what that will do now is just mean that Luton, Coventry, teams like that will never, ever be able to do anything in the Premier League. And Sheffield United, you know, it'll all be up and down. Burnley, small club, you know, why shouldn't they have the same rights as everybody else? They've reached the Premier League. They should be there, but it's not going to happen. And Terry, but if we get rid of these big clubs, we'll end up like Scotland, you know, because we're not
like Scotland anyway, Dave. I mean,
nobody's
ever going to do a Leicester again, and we know it's going to be one of the top 6. Well, not Chelsea, but it's usually 9.9 times out of 10. It's going to be one of the big 6 that win the Premier League. So we're there anyway, aren't we?
No, nobody's going to do Leicester 10 years ago, but we did. You know, why couldn't it happen again?
Because they've priced us out of the market, haven't they? They said when that happened, this isn't going to happen again, and they've pretty much made sure.
I'd be interested to see what sort of sums were being spent in the day we won the league. Bearing in mind, we bought Mahrez for 400,000, and a few others around the same price. I'd be interested to see what the top salary transfer was. Ferguson was in charge. No, he wasn't, was he? He'd gone by then. But you know, Man United was still paying big money, money for players then.
But do you not think, Dave, as Terry says there, it is like Scotland now? You know that Scotland is going to be one of 2, but in England it's going to be one of 6. So if those 6 go and bugger off and play, you know, the big boys every week, then it gives other clubs the chance of
but you know what? The secondary league.
Still the Premier League.
Well, only in name, isn't it? I mean, you think it's always been how many teams outside the top 6 or whatever you want to call them have ever won the league? Well, maybe us, Blackburn and Villa, in its history.
Villa haven't won it, I think.
Villa won it in 72.
That was in the Premier League, though, was it?
Oh, well, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. It's still the top division. But, you know, okay, so let's say Blackburn then and Leicester are the only 2 sides outside of the main group that have won it. So it's never changed in its history. But what it means is there is a possibility that clubs like Villa, Leicester, even Palace, when they were any good, could sneak into that top 6. maybe go for the top 4, just maybe. But you know what? If the top sides go and form European League, we'll probably get one team in the Champions League. We might get 2 or 3 teams in the UEFA League or whatever it's going to be called, and that'll be it. FA Cup winners, League Cup winners won't even get a sniff into Europe.
I mean, if we don't, but first of all, before I come on to UK and I'm just to get your thoughts on this, since it's been the Premier League, we know, apart from Blackburn Rovers and Leicester, it's been nobody else. Before that, Leeds won it, because of course they won it the last time before it became the Premier League. Everton won it, 86-87. Villa won it, 80-81. Forest, of course, won it, 77-78. Derby County won it twice. Everton again.
That seems like Preston. Didn't Preston dominate for a while?
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends. 61-62, it was Ipswich. So Wolverhampton. There's some. Again, it's how far do we go back, sort of thing. And I totally do get what Dave is saying. But look, if we keep those clubs in, we are Scotland. We are Scotland Mark II. We are Germany. Okay, they've got a club that's going to be doing a Leicester this season. I bet it won't happen again for a while. Spain is always one of 2 clubs. That is us at the moment.
Holland always has been 2 clubs. Not so much now, but always was. Yeah. So it happens all around the world.
It does.
The only way stopping that is to have a wage cap and a transfer cap.
A transfer cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like normal fantasy football, you have 100 million quid to spend.
Yeah.
Each, or whatever it is, whatever the figure is. Sport is all about being able to work your way up the food chain, whether that's winning your League 2, League 4, Conference League, whatever it is. It's being able to have the opportunity to win and do a Leicester. And if you take that power away, which is all but gone, really, it's really damaging for sport in general to not be able to just compete. And it's not what we go to football matches for. Yesterday I could have told you it would be a ball draw between Liverpool and Man City, and it was a decent game of football. But
I think the draw was because of the Liverpool goalkeeper had a rush of blood to his head. But, in fairness, but no, but we are Scotland, aren't we? I can tell you now, for the next 5 Premier League seasons, which 6 teams are going to be in there competing to win it. And it ain't going to be Villa, it ain't going to be Leicester, it isn't even going to be Tottenham, I would not imagine. It is Scotland in all but name. So when you get promoted, we know if we get promoted, we are not going to be the Leicester that was there before, where we finished 5th and what have you. We tried that. We may have got ourselves into financial difficulty by pushing to get it. But, when you get promoted, for the likes of Luton, Burnley, and even Leicester, our goal next season, if we go up, is going to be to stay up.
Yeah, I think that's
going to be like we were like back with the Martin O'Neill days. All I wanted at the start of every season was to finish 4th from bottom.
Yeah, I think that's the target pretty much for most Premier League promoted teams' first 3 seasons. Villa stayed up by the absolute seam of their shit refereeing pants a couple of seasons ago because a goal got ruled in goal on the last game of the season and Sheffield United went down. So it's those turns of luck, and Villa would have been relegated and should have been relegated. So you want to get 2 or 3 seasons out of the way, which we had done. We had done our work and got those out of the way. So that's going to be the ultimate target. But I feel each time the Premier League comes around each season, it's a different beast again. We're in this situation now where Chelsea are in the bottom half of the league, and I can't see them really working their way up into the top 6 for a while. Their moment in the sun has passed for the time being, but they do have significant financial backing. But there's probably a big fine or penalty looming over their heads, like it could be Leicester. So, but the Premier League is different. I think 12th to 20th, it's a league of its own, isn't it?
Yes. Dave, Scott says there, if we have wage caps or transfer caps, we're not going like American sports franchises rather than other clubs. Personally, I don't think so. What I would like to see, and it can't be that difficult. You get a set of accountants in a room. Surely they can do it within a day, and that's to sit down and go, right, last season, how much money did let's say Chelsea make? So they made that much money, right? That is how much are they spending on wages, etc. So you've got the incomings and outgoings, which any business should know, and say, right, well, in that case, this is what you can spend. Now, obviously, yes, it will allow the bigger clubs to spend more, unfortunately, but we've got to accept that Manchester United have a lot bigger fan base than Leicester will ever have. You know, they are worldwide, we are Far East, if you like, but, you know, surely that every club would then know how much they could spend, and they can go out and buy players that will fit into their financial plan. And surely that's the answer.
I really don't know what the answer is. I think the answer to Scott is that I think we are a franchise league. We've got so many foreign owners, so many organisations owning clubs. It went a bit that way with who was it that was at West Ham, went to Manchester United as a company almost. Can't remember his name now. Then he went to Man City, didn't he? Was it Argentinian guy or Brazilian or something? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I think we are as good as a franchise because there's the sort of companies that own. It's not the people that own the clubs; it's the companies. And you've seen that, how many companies own different clubs. I mean, it's got that way. It's a set of franchise. So
to compete, I guess, these days.
Well, yeah, because no individuals can really afford that sort of money. But
the problem is as well with FFP, I only found out this out last week, is that you are limited about how much equity you can put into a club. So top can only put a certain amount in, which is just a bit odd, really.
What, just for players or for... Oh, Kate's gone mute now, hasn't he?
Kate's muted. You've scared her off, Dave. but you know, it's like when I sort of used to manage agencies, travel agencies. I knew at the start of the year what my budget would be for advertising, what I could spend, because they knew how much I was currently paying for my branch for staff wages, mine included, rent and rates and all that. How much we would, we brought in that. Oh, who's that? Is that you?
I don't know, mate.
Don't know. So then they said, right, you can spend. She nipped to the loo. That's what it was. I know that noise. I think she was probably her farting. So yeah, just saying, Kate, and I'll let Dave answer. Then I'll get your thoughts on it.
Dead, is it?
When I manage a shop, I would know sort of at the end of the year how much I'd brought in. And then for the following year, therefore, I knew what I'd have to bring in because I knew what my rates were going to be, what my staff costs were going to be. So I knew that if anybody left and I had to replace them, how much I could offer. It was run, believe it or not, a business was being run as a business. You know, I would be given a certain amount for advertising. Now, as a manager, I was responsible. Do I spend all that in one big bump, or do I do it on this? How do I spread it out? But then again, it was on me whether that shop failed or was successful. Why can't we do that with football clubs? Surely if a football club knows at the start of the season that it's only got so much to spend, and it would stop other clubs holding clubs to financial, blackmail. But it could be done, Dave, couldn't it?
Well, not now, no, because the figures that these clubs are losing, the money they're losing is just phenomenal. You know, if for a club to stop losing money, I mean, what Villa announced their accounts last week, was it? Their losses. They'd have to sell off their players and probably their ground as well. So how they pick that back up into being a viable business, I can't see it. So they have to bring these rules in. As Kate said, the idea was to stop them going bust. You know, but it's not. It's been twisted into something else now because nobody really understands. Well, I don't understand the fair play rules, and I doubt if most football.
Your thought on what I said, Kate?
Yeah, I think I completely agree that football should be run as a business. I just think the horse has bolted. There's a couple of issues to that. First one is that Manchester City and Chelsea in particular, Man United were a bit different because their global fan base is massive and the money that they generate was a lot bigger and has been for many years. But Man City and Chelsea are the relative new money into football, and all of these rules were brought in after Chelsea and Man City washed the cash through that club, washed millions and millions of pounds through that club. So they had such an elevated starting point compared to the rest of clubs like Leicester. So that's part of the problem. But the second part of the problem with FFP is what I was just saying before I had to go, is that Top is only allowed to put a certain amount of equity into Leicester. He is restricted on the amount of cash he can inject into the club. Why? You're not restricted in any other business. If you want to pump £10 into your business to get it going, or you want to pump £10 million into your business to get it going, that is entirely your decision. So again, that's stopping and preserving the status quo of the top six. Why can't Top put £1 billion into Leicester if he wants to get them up? But that's basically what Wrexham are doing at the moment. Wrexham are going to be pumping money into that club. So you're not it's not a level playing field, and it's not being ran like a shop because you're not allowed to do X amount of directors' loans or just general equity conversions like Top's done. You're limited, but the horse has bolted. The limitations should have come before Man City and Chelsea washed the cash through the club, and it's just a bit late now. It's just a bit late. That's the problem.
And I think your point about sort of Man City can do more than Leicester, but then Leicester can do more probably than Plymouth because we've got richer owners. We can do more than Rochdale. Certainly.
Absolutely, but the problem is that poor old Rochdale can never do better than Leicester. Even if their owner wants to put money in, they can't. So how is that fair? Why is that right? If you want to put loads of money into an asset you own, fair play to you.
I think the problem's been, Kate, in the past is that the wrong owners have done it.
Yeah.
As you say, the money laundering that's gone on with Chelsea, Man United to a degree, it's just unacceptable.
And the problem with business, like with a normal business in a different industry, you can perhaps forecast and project a bit more accurately because you know your customer base, etc., etc. Whereas with us in particular, in 22-23 season, we would never ever have forecasted us getting relegated. So the problem with forecasting and planning spending within a football league is you don't know where you're going to finish. And what implication that's going to have, and what players get injured, or what players you might lose. Like it's such a moving piece all the time.
So why should you get fined for getting relegated then, and spending the same sort of money if you budgeted for it? What's the difference?
What's the difference?
And I thought that the idea of why we didn't spend any money until we sold Fofana. That window was to fit in with financial fair play rules. So I'm completely gone.
And I've seen people throw about, why did we build Seagrave if we're in this kind of problem? But in club infrastructure is excluded from FFP rules, so Seagrave would have been excluded.
Yeah. And that's why I don't understand why we haven't stuck 10,000 on the stadium like we were going to. And why we haven't developed outside the ground.
I don't think we would in the Championship, would we?
Why not? Why not?
That ground's not full every week. So, why build more when we can't fill it? Now, if we don't go up, we're stuck with a ground that we couldn't fill before, so we can't fill now.
You say that, Chris, but there's always around the 30,000 plus there.
Yeah, but there's always tickets for sale, so we're not filling it. So if I want a ticket, I'm not a season ticket holder anymore. I used to be. I'm a Fox member, and I get offered tickets literally week in, week out.
Yeah, that's the difference. But you take them. A lot of people that live there would take them. In the old days when we were in the Premier, you didn't get offered them.
No, because when we get back to the Premier, we'll be filling the stadium again, and then it's going to be worth building. But if we spend all those millions building an extension and we don't go up, it's like building the KP or Walkers as and getting relegated the same season. It's a case of, for me anyway, yes, but let's get up to the Premier League. Let's make sure we get up to the Premier League. Then let's make sure we're staying up before we spend more money.
Then you're putting it back another 5 years, and we'll be back.
Yeah, but at least we're not going bust then.
Well,
why? It's like building a hotel and then having nobody come to it.
That comes down to the marketing and the management.
Yeah, but
it's a tricky one. I grant you that. It's a tricky one.
The stadium now in this division, and we don't go up. Where we're going to get these other 8,000 fans from to fill?
Well, I've obviously misread that because I thought we were getting decent crowd, 30,000+ crowds.
Well,
we are getting about 30, but the stadium holds 32.
32
so
and a half.
there are some games where we sell out, but I think there's a couple of thousand spare, which is still probably.
All I can say is I'm always getting offered tickets.
But that could be price. That could also be price point because a lot of the tickets that are left may be the more expensive ones, and that might be different. And also, I hope the stadium expansion holds off for as long as possible because I think I'm going to lose my seat.
It's all about me with Kate, isn't it?
I know.
You can have my seat, Kate, anytime.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
That's wrong. That is wrong on so many levels. Like we were going to talk FA Cup, but I'm going to drop that because I'm just looking at the time. So we're going to come back, and we will just when we come back, we will have viewers' questions basically.
It didn't happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
Leicester Till I Die TV, home of the FA Cup winners.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Okay, so let's have a look. And we've got all the questions now that we're going to have. So no more questions, please. Or you can put them in, but we certainly won't get into them. I've got another show at 9, believe it or not.
Oh, sorry,
first question was from Scott here. It's a very good question. I'll throw this one at you, first of all, Kate. And I'll probably alternate between. Do you think we will have a fire sale?
No. I'd rather take the 6-point hit, and I think the club would as well. If we're going to get deducted 6 points next year, I'd rather take the 6-point hit and keep the likes of KDH, Winks, and all of that. So I don't think there'll be a fire sale. No, I think you've just got to hedge your bets.
But is that already decided whether we sell now or not? It's too late, isn't it? Because it's on the past 3 years.
I thought. Yeah, maybe. I thought we were having the opportunity to generate some sales in this summer, at the end of June. Who knows? Who bloody knows? Do you know what? We can put it in the basket with the person that makes the offside rule because they ain't got a clue either.
No. VAR. Same shit. Room 101. No.
I'll throw this one at you, Dave. Players more bothered about new contracts or new clubs than wanting to put a performance in. Not all players, but maybe some not got their heart for it now.
That would be disappointing. I get Scott's point, but that would be disappointing because there's such a lot to play for. And if we get promoted, these guys are in a team that can shine. I don't know how long Wilf came on for on Saturday, Kate. I only saw a little bit of it.
An hour, I think, wasn't it? I think it was
half an hour. Looked a bit sluggish, but that was only the bit I saw.
He was going about his business very gingerly for a while. I don't think he's quite feeling.
Who was that? Sorry.
Wilf.
I don't think
he came on at half time. He came on for the second
half time, was it?
Yeah.
Is Pratt go off in? No, who did he come on for? I can't remember.
Can't remember now. You're making me read me notes, aren't
you?
Sorry, mate.
I think it was Eunice. I think it was Eunice.
Oh, it was. Yes, it was. Eunice, yeah.
Because he could be injured now, couldn't he?
Well, this is the problem at this time of year. Now, other teams are going to have injury problems. We just don't seem to be, obviously, not checking up on them, so we don't know.
Yeah.
I hope you're wrong, Scott, because I think it's such an important time for player and club. I would have hoped that if players want a new contract or they want to move, they'll put an effort in, because this is a time when their mentality will be questioned by any club that wants to sign them, and included the Leicester management who want to give them new contracts.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing, I mean, you look at last year, Maddison was going to have to go anyway because his attitude towards the end was despair and, what am I doing here? And the same went for what it was when you saw him play. I mean, he was playing out of position. He didn't want to play in that position. And towards the end, he knew it was all over. No matter what he says, you could tell him from his body language on the pitch. And one or two other players were the same. So it was inevitable. Harvey Barnes was similar. You knew he was going. And that's just the way it is. Because if Leicester went down, they'd move on, no matter what they look like. But now we're talking about players in the Championship trying to maybe impress teams in the Premier League. So the only way they're going to do it, or even overseas, is put performance in.
I'm going to ask a question from me now, Kate, to you. I'm going to sit in the viewer's chair and ask you a question for you, Kate. So I'm going to alternate the questions. Fatu, if we go up, we've got to buy him. If we don't go up for any reason, do we lose out on him? Will somebody come in and get him? Or I mean, hopefully we'll still go in for him.
I'd like to think we'd still go in for him, and I'd like to think that he would choose us simply because he's absolutely loved his time here. But money talks, doesn't it? So it depends what's on offer on the table, really.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that he would stay. I think he looks like he's absolutely loving life here. Remember, he's only 19 as well. He's a really young lad. And he seems to be learning every game and just loving being part of this team. He's got a lot of support there, a lot of fellow African nations as well, which I think probably makes him feel more comfortable on the pitch as well, like the likes of Ndidi, who he can follow. Daka does really well for Zambia. Like, he seems to be, him and Wolf, I've seen a video of him and Nacho dancing on the bus on the way back from Sunderland. So I think he's really enjoying his time here, which matters a lot to him. So yeah, I'd love to think that we go in for him, but money talks at the end of the day, and his agent will probably have something to say about it.
I'm sure. Dave, John asks, is Enzo feeling the pressure?
He must be a little bit, but I don't think A, he'll show it, or B, it'll affect him. Don't forget, although he wasn't the boss, he was second in command at Man City, and that's pressure. But this is a new job to him. He's been given at least 2 years, hasn't he, to get us promoted. It wasn't intended that we come back straight away, so he's well ahead of his target. So from a personal part, apart from the pride factor and the deflation we'd all feel if we didn't get promoted now, I think he's achieved what was expected of him. So really, I think he's probably been around too long. He's only young, I know, but he's been around, and he's been at the top as well, albeit underneath.
Kate Scott says, we will be able to afford Enzo and staff if we didn't go back up.
Well, I'd like to think that that's already been thought about. We'd be very naive and stupid to think you've not factored in his contract if we don't get promoted. So I'd like to think that we can afford Enzo based on the position that we're in now, which is Championship football. So
I think we took him on as a Championship club, didn't we?
Yeah, and I presume if he gets promoted, he's going to get probably a fancy gold watch, probably a blue BMW i8, and all the rest of the trimmings that come from it.
They're not all they're cracked up to be, Kate.
No, take mine back.
I mean, it doesn't come with a chauffeur, does it, Dave?
But yeah, you're looked after. You don't hear any manager slag off the way that we've treated people at our club, so he'll be very well looked after.
Yeah.
He's had free bed and breakfast, bed and board at the Seagrave for God knows how long.
Free of charge, yeah.
I know. And it's not a bad place to live, that, is it?
Oh, it's an absolute dream. Beautiful.
Dave, over to you for this one, and then we've got one more, then we'll wrap it up. John says, question for later, well, for now, is Mavididi turning into a Barnes, and no matter how badly he plays, Enzo won't take him out?
I think Mavididi channels back. I think he helps his defenders. That's the difference.
Yes, he does.
I think Enzo wouldn't hesitate to drop him if he felt it would help or it was the right thing to do. I think that's
I don't think he's been bad, unfortunately. I think he's just had two players on him by most.
He needs to deal with that, because that's going to happen in the Premier League as well. So he needs to be able to counter that, and I think he perhaps needs a bit more support as well. But as you say, 7 months into it, that's all. You know,
and only one real window, wasn't it? Only one real transfer window.
Yeah, Ferguson couldn't build a team in 7 months. He nearly got sacked after January.
God managed to build all this lot in 6 days. I mean, what?
Indeed,
come on. He's not the Messiah, Enzo. He's a very naughty boy. Kate, we'll end with this one. We'll end with Kate. I don't know whether that sounds right or not, and I've just lost the question, so just bear with me.
I've got a question for Kate. What are you doing tomorrow night?
Whatever you're doing, Dave.
Hey, I'll send my chauffeur round for you.
Yes. By the way, Fatawu could make a good right back. That's another he was so good defensively on Saturday. Look at Chris getting jealous. He's getting jealous.
I know, way. It's the way, isn't it? A bit close. Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing with them, isn't it? They both track back either side, and they work hard. Hello, Chris. They work hard for the team, and that's what didn't happen.
Edited, don't you?
That's what didn't happen in the old days. They didn't. Yeah. Barnes wasn't interested.
What's Scott's question? Would the panel rather put money in the club to generate the infrastructure?
This will be the last question. Before you get to that, Kate, I just want to very quickly say one of our, if not our best defender of the weekend was actually Fatawu for me. He was getting that. But Kate, to end on this, would the panel rather put the money in the club to generate the infrastructure to the club with the knowledge of getting a points deduction for the benefit of the long-term future?
I think that's exactly what will happen. I think you've got to speculate to accumulate, and sometimes you just got to take that hit. I just can't see the point of selling some really important assets in terms of players and jeopardising the next couple of seasons just for the sake of 6 points, whether that's the 6 points that seals our fate down to the championship or not.
Yeah. Dave's gone. Just want to say hi to Rich. What is the points deduction? Well, we play it back.
We actually don't know, Rich, to be honest.
Neil, Ipswich fan in peace, but in late. I'm sorry, so sorry, Neil. We are just rounding this up. We are going to be back. We're back at 9 o'clock tonight, but we're also back on Thursday at 8:30. Pop in and we'll have a chat. Kate and Dave, thank you so very much. I did disappear because I did feel, like I say, like a gooseberry. But it's Dave, can I just say,
of course you
can. You had the pleasure of meeting royalty.
Tonight.
Kate. Last week. I mean, you and Kate, this isn't like Andrew and what she called, is it, from American Girl?
No, certainly not. A bit more subtle than that. Plus
that makes you know who, Chris. Bloody hell.
Sorry, what? Sorry?
That makes you know who. Bloody Epstein.
Yeah.
This is a bit embarrassing now. We'll move on.
not Brian. Anyway, Kate's mum and dad probably watching, so hi.
Yes. And the divorce hasn't gone through yet, Dave.
Well, she's left me, so I don't know where she is.
Don't blame her. Yeah, your flat looks like a scene out of Dexter. I had to get her to message me the other day to say that she was all right. I'm sorry.
don't
Can you
talk
just
about
say
that anymore.
apologise to Kathy, please, Dave, that I put her off her cornflakes the other morning? Or
Yeah,
her
no,
porridge.
it was porridge. I hate porridge anyway. It's not nice.
I wasn't
Not
talking about the nicest things, but it's what's in the papers. Kate, thank you so very, very much. Dave, thank you very, very much as well.
See you both.
Dave's got to go off to bed because he's up at 7 a.m. So thanks very much, all. And Kate, are you going to Chelsea?
I am really excited.
Hey.
I
It's a
don't
no
know
pressure
yet
game.
whether I'm going to be doing a watch along, so I will be in touch because I may actually, because it's a quarter final of the FA Cup, I may actually be spending some time and watching it with my son. So
Right, okay.
I will let you know what is going on. But
And it's on the BBC.
it is.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. You notice we go that way, Kate goes the other way. I am Kate's backslash to her forward slash, though, by the way. So I don't want to get jealous, Dave.
I go both ways, so it's fine.
Well, I had heard. The rumours have been swirling around the radio station for quite a while, Dave.
He obviously feels this is a safe space to talk about it.
Yeah, and you do need to clean that graffiti off the gents' toilets. All right, just give you a heads up. Oh God, I'm going to be busy tomorrow editing all this out, aren't I? Right, guys, thank you very, very much. And
I'm going to get me chops now.
We'll do it all again next week. When hopefully we're into the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
Ooh, wouldn't that be good, eh?
Dave loves a semi, I've heard, so that's all right.
Mr. and Mrs. Blakey, will you please look? Well, no, it's not Mrs. Blakey, but you know what I mean. Mr. and Mrs. Blakey, will you please take your daughter in hand? I know Dave wants to, but will you please take her in hand and sort her out? She spent it. I think we need to give her some time off. I really do.
I've got a week off now.
Oh, good.
Anyway,
good night from me.
Good night from me. Good night from them too. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.
Right,
Take care. Be good.
Bye-bye.
Bye, kids.
Kids, how old is that, mate, Dave? Yeah, so it's all changed here. 9 o'clock, I'm going to be back with Craig from Up the Cherries and All Departments. We will be looking at this week's championship games and going through them and just having a chat about them. That's at 9 o'clock on this channel. Please feel free to join us and join in the chat. All you got to do is subscribe and then you can chat away to us. But you do have to be a subscriber to chat. And don't forget to press the likes for the video as well. We will then be back on Thursday, a bit later than normal to fit in with everything. But with Chelsea Fancast, we'll be looking ahead to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. It does sound good when we say that, doesn't it? And then Friday at 7 o'clock, it's all new prediction show with our Brad and his new regular co-host, Carl, who's a Leeds fan. This could get interesting. But he is our favourite Leeds fan. We like Carl. He's a good friend of the channel. And he will be joining Brad 7 o'clock on Friday for the prediction show. I may or may not be doing a watch along. It depends whether my son is going away or not, to be honest with you. So I haven't decided. And if he stays, he doesn't know. It's all confusing. So I may or may not be doing a watch along. Keep out, subscribe, and click that notification bell. That's what you need to do, because then if you do that, if I do upload a show, you'll get notified. Simple, isn't it? And if you like to, if you do like the outtakes that we do, click onto that one there, which is TikTok, and that will you'll see all our outtakes and things that go wrong and what have you. And there is our Instagram. If you are an Insta person, just scan them on your mobile phone and you'll get into us. I'll see you at 9 o'clock. Thanks to everybody that's been listening on there on your favorite podcast station. And thank you to everybody that's been in and joining in with the chat. I will see you at 9 o'clock. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care now. Press the right button.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.